Okay, now we're on to season 2 for Superman and Lois. As we're counting down to the end of the final season, for like 2 episodes left as I'm recording this video. And I'm like, okay, like I said in my season 1 review, I gotta share my thoughts on the previous 3 seasons. Now we're on to season 2. So, yeah, with that all being said, I am going to mention some spoilers. So if you're not all caught up, if you're not stepped near the show, and then you love Superman, I suggest you get on Max, watch all the episodes, and then jump on the CW, and then watch the remaining episodes that they have up for the final season. Get on it. I'm telling you. So there we go. Now, I forgot to mention in my season 1 review of how they blend in what we loved about the Christopher Reeve aspect of the character and Henry Cavill as well, where they blend both of those elements into Superman and Lois. And then while they do that, where it reminds you, like, okay, it reminds me of, like what Christopher Reeve brought to the role, and then what Henry Cavill had to bring to the role. Like, there was a perfect balance to that. Like, to where it makes Superman feel more human. And like other like versions have done that well, but Tower Hecklin really, really crushes it. Like, man, oh man. Like, where you can see where in season 1, where he has a talk with Jordan, who I forgot to mention, he's the one who developed superpowers out of the both sons. And he tells him, well, I have that same anger inside of me too, but I keep it in check. What he says from that whole scene is just right there. I'm like, wow. I can just watch that and just still be blown away. Now, here with season 2, where it looks like we're gonna have Doomsday getting, okay, isn't that kind of soon? We're in season 2, but then again, in this story, he's been Superman for a long time, for 20 years. So okay, I'll give that a pass or whatever. And then when we think it is Doomsday, turns out to be Bizarro. And then when you see him full in the full suit, where it's the reverse suit, where the S is reversed, okay, man, this is a scary looking Bizarro. He looks awesome. He looks so awesome. He's even talking backwards, where you have to read subtitles and see what he's saying. Interesting. And then they introduced Ali Alston. At first it turns out it looks like something that Lois has, something that Lois has to deal with, where that's just for her part in the season. But it turns out no, this her and Bizarro are tied in together, and he wants to kill her because she is going to be an enormous threat. She's going to be a threat to our world and such, and then she's going to become a problem for Superman. And that brings Lucy Lane back into the mix, where Jenna Dewan comes back as Lucy, and where she did play her in Supergirl, but here she's not, where she has it all figured out and she has a good job in Supergirl. And here she's lost. She made some decisions where Lois is trying to get her to get out of this mess that she's in. And then even for a moment, I felt bad for Lucy. Oh, okay, where Lois did something that, or there was something that Lois didn't do. I'm okay, I'm still on Lois's side here, but now I'm starting to sympathize with Lucy, but that didn't last long, where Lucy is making a lot of questionable decisions in honor of her belief in Ali Alston. I'm what is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you, girl? But, Jenna Dewan portrays it very well. She did solid. Her and Elizabeth Tulloch, where I can buy into the fact that they are sisters. Just more so in their performance. I look at them, yeah, I mean, I can see it, but in their performance, that's where it really shines. Now, and then we have, Jordan, who gets superpowers, out of the two boys. The way they handle him in this series, it's kind of like how they handled Clark in Smallville, like like with his crush for Lana and everything. Like they, it's kind of predictable. Like I wasn't surprised that they decided to go this route with Clark's son and Lana's daughter. Like okay, all right. Like they did have that Clark and Lana vibe from Smallville going on there a little bit, to where it's like, okay, all right, it's tolerable for me, but it's not one of the stronger parts of the show. But still, like I can sit through it. But yeah, I forgot to mention that in season 1, like in my thoughts for that. And then like I said, like with like when it's focused on the two sons, like and what they're doing, whether it's Jonathan taking XK and whatnot, and man, like the performances like in that is really, 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 really good. From where he didn't want people to know, and then they find out, and then now you gotta step away from it. And then we get to like a bizarro version of Jonathan who has powers in that world, and Jordan doesn't. And then he comes over here, and then our Jordan and that Jonathan clash, and then it's fun to watch. And it's cool to see Superman and Bizarro fight, like where you see them showcase their powers on each other, like where Superman blows his freeze breath, and then Bizarro has a flame breath. Like that was really cool. And then like that was really cool to see. It's like in each episode, like, okay, round 1, round 2, round 3. Like, definitely in round 3, I rewatched that multiple times. I don't know, like, it's insane. And Allie Austin, like, as it gets closer to her, I guess she is this show's version of Parasite, she is pretty unsettling. Pretty unsettling. And the way they bring Tal Rowe, aka Morgan Edge, like into the mix, you do have a bit of a Thor and Loki thing going on there, where this is sort of him slowly redeeming himself, and you can sense it, but they try to make you think that he'll never redeem himself. But the way they handled him here was pretty good, and and also like with man, there was a bit that happened here. Okay, oh yeah, and then they confirm that this is not part of Earth Prime, like, and that's why none of the events of this show carry over to any of the other shows. Like, even though they have John Diggle, like pop up like once in season 1 and then once in this season. Like, okay, and I won't lie, I found myself wishing that it stood on its own, like where it wasn't tied in with everybody else. And it turns out season 2 confirms that it's not tied in with everybody else. It's just another part of the multiverse where Superman's the only hero in that world. I'm like, okay, I am on board with that. Like, now that's out of the way, don't expect to see the Flash or anybody pop up or whatever. Even though they had John Diggle in there, I'm like, you probably shouldn't have put him in there in the first place. But still, those are minor gripes in season 2. But this show, season 2, is very solid. I know I didn't cover everything that happens here, but I did mention some things that stood out to me. And there's everything that I loved about this show. And man, another solid 9 out of 10 for me in season 2 of Superman and Lois. So now we're going to jump over to season 3 in my next video. So if you like this video, comment, click, subscribe, all that fun stuff, the whole shebang, notification bell. I'll see you guys in my reviews for season 3. So until then, take care.